Welcome to Pilates Health Physiotherapy. This is a taster session. It is suited to anyone who is new to Pilates. It is also suited to anyone with diagnosed back pain or movement problems, but is not a substitute for thorough assessment and advice. It is also a useful resource for anyone who has done Pilates in the past but just wishes to revisit some basic technique. Before we start this session, I want you to take the time to read and understand the medical disclaimer at the beginning of this video. It can also be found on our website. Also, at all times, it is your responsibility to make sure you work at a level that is suited to your own ability. If at any time you have any problem with any of the exercises, please take some time to rest and come back to the class when you feel able to. And lastly, make sure that the area that you're working in is clear of any obstructions. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start first of all with a posture check. And to do that, we're going to start with our feet together. We're going to open our toes and then open our heels. And that will give us that nice hip-width stance that we need for nice, stable posture. I want you to think about the weight through your feet and think of your feet as two triangles of support. At the base of your big toe, your little toe and heel. And we're just going to explore that by shifting our weight forward and shifting our weight back. And you can feel that transfer of weight from your heels to your toes. And you'll particularly feel as you come forward that your big toe will push you backwards. Once you get on your heels, your body then readjusts to come forwards. And then we're going to come to a place where you feel that weight is evenly spread through your feet. And this is really important because your feet are the first contact with the floor or with the earth, and it's from that point that you balance the rest of your body. So we're going to use our feet as sensors to improve our balance and our postural control. Let's come up to the knees. We're going to bend the knees, and then I want you to lock them back hard. Try and get those muscles to push them back nice and straight. And you'll feel your body wanting to shift and adjust to that knee locking. So what we're going to do for good posture is just to soften those knees a little. So we're going to take them out of lock so that we're keeping our thighs and our calves and our feet and our buttocks nice and active when we're standing. So holding that position with our feet and our knees, let's come up to our pelvis and do a pelvic rock. If you pop your hands on your pelvis, that just helps you to feel that movement around your lower spine and your pelvis. And if you think of your pelvis as being like a bucket that is tipping backwards and forwards, it will help you to get an idea of that movement of your pelvis. It's also a nice way to get mobility into your lower spine, but the other really important thing with this movement is it helps to improve our awareness of the area that we're going to be using to support our centre of gravity. And it's in that area that those muscles, our core muscles, are going to be working. So once you've done a little bit of that pelvic rocking backwards and forwards, I want you to come to a place where you feel like that pelvic bucket is now fairly level. Once we're in that place, we're going to think about the muscles of our core, our pelvic floor, our deeper abdominals that wrap around our trunk, and we're going to think of our diaphragm sitting at the top of that core, creating that nice internal airbag, cylindrical airbag to support that centre of gravity. So let's take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, I want you to lift into your pelvic floor. Just feel that gentle lifting up and inside to support your internal organs. And then I want you to imagine you've got a belt around your pelvis and it's just slung around there, and we're just going to gently tighten that up. And you can feel those muscles gently pulling in. Okay, once you've got that feeling, we're going to see if we can hold that there and then think about what's happening up around the shoulders. We're going to think about those shoulders sitting over the hips, and we sometimes talk about widening through the collarbones. It's as if we've got the end of our collarbones and just stretch them a little bit wider so the shoulders will come back over our hips. And the last thing we're going to do for our postural control is think of our crown lifting towards the ceiling. Now try and remember it's not our forehead. The crown is 2/3 of the way back on the skull, so I want you to think of that point lifting so that we're just lengthening gently into the back of the neck. And once you've done that, let's just get those arms to fall heavy by your side. And one of the really important things with Pilates is thinking about our breathing pattern, because our diaphragm does form the top of our core muscles that support our center of gravity, or that center of our trunk. So we're going to be thinking about our diaphragm and the muscles that connect our ribs together to try and get better air in and out of the lungs, and also because it helps, the position of our diaphragm will help to support our center. So we're going to talk about lateral rib breathing. We're going to think of our ribs moving outwards and try and think a little less of the tummy as being important to our breathing. So let's rest our hands on those outer ribs, and I want you to imagine as you're breathing in that you're filling up your hands at the side of your rib cage. So let's take a deep breath in. Try and feel those ribs expand and open, and then out completely. And again, breathing in. And out. Good. Arms by your side. We're going to practice doing that with our arms by our side. Think of your head floating up and the arms heavy. Take a deep breath in. Feel those ribs expand and open outwards. And out. And one more breath in. And out. Okay, now still thinking about those muscles of our core, stabilizing through the center of our body there. We're going to add in a little bit of movement. So we're going to start by lifting our heels. So breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to peel our feet off the floor, lifting the heels. Breathing in, peeling down. Try and maintain that stability as you do it. And again, breathing out, lifting up. Breathing in, coming down. Breathing out, lifting up. Breathing in, coming down. Keep that stability. And again, lifting up. And coming down. Okay, we're going to float our arms up. Think nice and tall through the crown. Breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to bring our arms down and reach behind us. Breathing in, coming back up. Breathing out, down, reach behind you. Breathing in, coming back up. Keep that crown lifting up as you do it. Breathing in. Last one, breathing out. Breathing in, arms down by your side. Let's just shrug the shoulders and release. The next one we're going to do is called dumb waiter. And with this exercise, we're focused on our shoulder blades at the back gently drawing together and trying to get our shoulder joints to open as widely as we can. But when we're doing that, I want you to imagine that you've got important documents underneath your arms and you're hugging them into your rib cage. Okay, so just to prevent the arms just flailing out, we're going to think about those documents hugging. So shrug and drop. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, draw into your center. Palms up, and we're going to open out those arms. Breathing in and closing. Breathing out, and breathing in. I want you to think about your shoulder blades gently drawing down and in towards your back pockets each time you open, and keep imagining your crown floating up. You're breathing out on the outward movement, breathing in. Breathing out, breathing in. Have a little pause. So now we're going to extend that exercise into one that we call Cleopatra, where we're opening and pushing our arms out. And the important thing as we do that is those shoulders don't creep up. So we're going to think about those shoulder blades staying tucked down as we do it. So breath in. As you breathe out, center. Open first, hugging those documents. Now we're going to let them go as we stretch out. Palms down, draw back in and close. Breathing out, palms up, stretching out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Last one. Breathing out. Breathing in. Well done. Okay, next exercise we're going to work on bringing our arms up above our head. So as we're doing that, we want to think about the balance through our feet. We want to keep that nice length through our spine and our engagement through the center. So breath in. As you breathe out, center engaged. I want you to imagine you're sliding your hands up a wall. As you start going up, just watch your head doesn't shift forward or your shoulders don't reach up. We want to keep those shoulder blades tucked down. Let's pause there, thinking nice and tall through the crown. Breath in. And as you breathe out, let's bring our arms down. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, keeping your center engaged, slide your arms up that wall, reaching to the top of it. Breath in. As you breathe out, let's come down. Let's do 2 more. Breath in. As you breathe out, sliding up. Think of your crown lifting with those hands. Breath in. As you breathe out, let's come down. Last one. Breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to slide up, stretching up into it. Breath in. As you breathe out, coming down. Well done. Last exercise we're going to do a roll down and then roll back up. And a roll down is a lovely way to get some segmental movement through the spine. It's also a great way to teach some of those deeper stabilizing muscles, both in the neck and in the deep abdominal area, to work to support the spine to move in a segmental way rather than in a block movement. So I'm going to turn side on to the camera so you can see what we're doing here. We're still standing with our feet hip width apart. And the first exercise we're going to do is largely going to be movement through the neck. So let's think about the weight even through the feet. Think about the crown lifting up, breath in. As you breathe out, center, and I want you to nod. Try and get the top of your neck lengthened first, and then we're going to roll until our chin is just about resting into the notch in your breastbone. You'll feel that your shoulders will have shifted forward a little. I particularly want you to focus on that movement through the neck and relaxing into that movement. Breath in. As you breathe out, keeping your center engaged, we're going to stack up from the base of the neck, unrolling and lengthening out through the crown. Let's do it again. This time we're going to go further down. We're going to go as far as you're comfortable to go, but we're going to think of each of those little segments moving forward one segment at a time. So breath in. As you breathe out, center, lengthen, nod, and let's roll down. So firstly, we're getting that segmental movement through the neck. Now I want you to let those shoulders roll forward a little bit and start thinking of your ribs peeling away from a wall one at a time. As you're doing that, keep an awareness of weight even through the feet. As you come down past the knees, just soften them a little bit. Take the tension out of the back of your legs so you can work on your movement through your spine and through the hips. Once you're down as far as you're comfortable to go, let's pause in that position. Breath in. As you breathe out, draw into your center and let's lift up. Let's lift the pelvis, lift up through the waist, stack your ribs, get your shoulders over your hips, unroll, lengthen through the neck, crown floating up. So you're back in that nice neutral posture. Let's do it one more time. Breath in. As you breathe out, center, lengthen, nod, and rolling forward through the neck first. Let those shoulders start coming forward. Imagine your ribs peeling off a wall, one at a time. As your hands pass your knees, soften them a little bit. Once you're down as far as you're comfortable to go, it doesn't have to be right to the floor, you just go as far as you're comfortable to go. Pause in that position, feel the weight of your head and arms, and be aware of your weight still even through the feet. Breath in. As you breathe out, center engage, and up we come again, lifting the pelvis, lifting up through the waist, ribs, shoulders over hips, unroll, lengthen through the neck, crown floating up. Okay, we're going to go down on our mat now for the next section. If you like, you could use your roll down. If you're not happy with that, just go in a way that you feel safe. Okay, we're going to go over onto our back. And I want you to lie with your feet hip width apart and your heels coming back towards your buttocks, but not too close, just comfortably lying there. And the first thing we're going to do is just check our head position. If you need a cushion, you can pop one under. A little one will do. The most important thing is you're not using cushions that are pushing your head up. We want to work on just keeping the back of our neck soft and long. So the first thing we're going to do lying on our mat is we're going to do some pelvic tilting just like we did in standing. And I want you to imagine you've got a little marshmallow in the hollow between your back and the mat, between your waist and the mat. And I want you to imagine you're flattening into that marshmallow, and then you're going to lift up and away from it. Let's do that again. Flatten down and lift up and away. And again, it's a really nice way to get a little bit of movement into your lower spine and your pelvic joints. And it also helps to improve our awareness of the area that we're about to work as we do our exercises. Okay, once you've done 3 or 4 of those, let's come to a place of rest. And I want you to visualize that little hollow. If you're not sure, slide your fingers in there. We've all got one. There's a little space that should stay constant as we're doing our exercises. So the next thing we're going to do is start thinking about those muscles that we're engaging when we do our exercises. And as I mentioned before, your core is made up of muscles that wrap around our trunk. They're our deeper abdominals, our pelvic floor muscles, and our diaphragm. So let's start the pelvic floor. I want you to think of that pelvic floor as a sling of muscle that goes from your tailbone to your pubic bone, and it helps to hold up your internal organs. So we're going to try and get that muscle active. But before we do, I want you to find the bony areas of your pelvis, slide your fingers in. So take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, I want you to lift from your tailbone up towards your pubic bone and just get the sensation of drawing up in towards your internal organs. Now again, I want you to feel that sensation of just tightening in under your fingers as if you've got a low slung belt around just below your waist. Let's see if we can just hold that there for a moment and breathe normally. Okay, and relax. Let's do that again. Breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to draw up from your tailbone to your pubic bone. Feel those muscles drawing up into your pelvic floor. And now see if you can draw in to your lower abdominals, just that feeling of drawing up just below your navel, just inside that bony area of your pelvis, and see if you can hold and breathe normally. Just check that you haven't flattened your waist hollow, that it hasn't changed. You're just resting lightly on that marshmallow. And relax. Okay, the next exercise we're going to do a single leg stretch. Now we're going to start this by just doing alternate legs and just lifting to about 45 degrees. Okay, so it looks like that. And when we're doing it, I want you to focus on keeping your pelvis and your waist really still. So thinking of that marshmallow, we're leaving our spine resting on it. We're neither flattening or lifting away from it. Rest your hands on the front of your tummy, stretch them between your ribs and your pelvis, and that will help to get you feeling that stability with your hands as well. So breath in. As you breathe out, drawing into your center, lift your right leg and stretching out and coming back. And lifting the opposite leg and stretching out and coming back. Keep going from side to side. Breathe in as you come back. Breathing out as you stretch out. Breathe in as you come back. Okay, if you feel confident to go lower, we're going to stretch out a bit lower, but keep that stability through your pelvis. And again, stretching out and coming back. Breathing out, stretching out and coming back. Breathing out, stretching out and coming back. Have a little rest. We're going to float our arms up now above our shoulders. Try and keep the back of the neck soft and long. And we're going to move our arms this time. Now this time I want you not only to focus on the little curve in your waist that your marshmallow is resting on, I also want you to think about your ribs. And your lower ribs should be just about resting on the mat. And we want to try and keep that connection with the ribs and the mat as we move our arms. So breath in. As you breathe out, drawing into your center, let's float those arms up. Try and take them as far as you can without your ribs or your waist wanting to lift. Breathing in, we're going to scoop the arms back. And again, breathing out, stretch. Breathing in, scooping back. And again, breathing out, stretch. Breathe in, scoop back. Breathing out, stretch. Breathe in, scoop back. Breathe out, stretch. Breathe in, scoop back. Last one. Breathe out, stretch. breathe in, scoop back. Okay, for our next one, we're going to add in one leg to, so we're combining the last two exercises we've done, we're going to put them together and aim to keep the pelvis and the waist nice and still. So think of that marshmallow, we're going to leave our spine resting on it as we move. So breath in, as you breathe out, we're going to stretch, breathe in, come back. Breathe out, stretch. Breathe in, come back. Breathe out, stretch. Breathing in. Breathe out, stretch. Breathe in. If you feel confident to go a bit lower with that leg, go a little bit lower. See if you can really lengthen out into that hip as you're doing it. You're getting the out breath on your stretch, your in breath on the return. Think about that little space. We want to try and keep the spine resting on your marshmallow as you do it. Okay, last one, each side. Breathe out, stretch. Breathe in, breathe out, stretch. Breathe in and rest. So for our next exercise, we're going to challenge those muscles, not only the deeper ones, but the ones that crisscross our tummy. They're going to support us a little bit as we go into a rotary movement. By that I mean we're going to tip our leg out sideways and try not to have our pelvis rolling with it. So we're going to rest our hands on our pelvic bones, so back down here a little bit lower. We don't need to be up near the ribs this time. And I want you to imagine that you've got a tea tray resting on your pelvis here. So every time this one leg opens out, I want you to try and imagine keeping that tea tray really still, because you've got full drinks on it and you don't want it sliding sideways as you move. So we're going to have the feet just slightly apart for this, and we're going to try and isolate our movement to the hip. That's one of the important principles of Pilates, is learning to isolate where the movement occurs. So we have a stabilizing area and a moving area. In this exercise, our pelvis is stable, our hip is moving our leg outwards. So hands resting on your pelvis, take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, drain into your center, and let's open out one leg, keeping the pelvis nice and still. Breathing in as you close. Breathing out as you open the opposite leg. Breathing in as you close. Keep going from side to side. Okay, what you need to focus on first of all is not how far you're moving the hip, but how stable you're keeping your pelvis and the opposite leg. Okay, we want to keep the opposite leg really still while we're doing that. Okay, once you've got going and you're confident with that, you can start to push that leg out a little bit more, but still paying attention to a nice stable pelvis. Remember, you're breathing out as you open, you're breathing in as you close. Breathing out as you open, breathing in to close. Breathe out, open. Breathe in, close. Last one. Breathe out, open. Breathe in, close. Well done. Okay, for the next set of exercises, we're going over onto our side. So you'll need to use a cushion here. If you've got your own Pilates cushions, I'm using the 3-inch and 1-inch cushion. If you don't have these particular cushions, you can use your own cushion, but make sure whatever you've got, that you are adequately supported with your head and neck, so that you're neither pushed up nor dropping down. Okay, so we're going to have both arms out in front. We're going to have our hips and knees bent up just to 90 degrees. I want you to think about your shoulders and your hips being stacked vertically to start with. Now this movement is a nice rotational movement through the spine from the waist to the crown, and it's also a lovely way of opening out through the front of your chest. If you can use a visual cue of a pot balanced on the top of your hip, that will help you to work on keeping the pelvis stable as we move up through the spine. So breath in. As you breathe out, center engage. Let's tuck down that top shoulder gently, and we're going to start the movement through the waist, rib cage, open that arm out and let your head follow. Breathing in, coming back. Breathing out, turn and open. Breathing in, coming back. I want you to feel that movement starting right down at your waist and finishing up right up through the neck. Feel that opening out through the front of your chest, through the front of your shoulders, right down to your fingertips each time you open. Remember, the out breath is on the open, the in breath's on the close. Let's do 2 more. Breathing out and open. Breathing in, coming back. Last one. Breathing out, opening out. Breathing in, coming back. Well done. For the next exercise, we're going to do a clam exercise. Now, if you have any issues with your underneath shoulder, you're very welcome to leave your arm there. But by preference, we're going to get rid of the small cushion and just have your larger cushion between your shoulder and your ear and have that underneath arm stretched out underneath you. I want you to think of your shoulders and your hips being stacked vertically, and I want you to make sure that you've got a little waist hollow. Now this exercise is going to work on isolating a movement to your hip. Isolation is one of the important principles of Pilates. We use our core muscles to stabilize our pelvis, and we're going to use our buttock in this particular exercise to isolate our movement to the hip. So we're going to start with our feet on the floor. Just be careful you don't have your knees and hips too tightly bent. I want you to open them out so you've got about 60 degrees at the hips, 60 degrees at the knees. And the first set we're going to do with our feet on the floor. So breath in. As you breathe out, center engage. You're going to keep the feet together and just open out that top knee. Breathing in and close. Breathing out, open. Breathing in and close. And I want you to feel that buttock muscle really working to open the hip. And we're going to work at keeping the pelvis really still. If you're struggling with that, you can always put your hand on the floor lightly. But by preference, if you can manage to get your hand on your pelvis, keep your elbow pointing up the ceiling so your shoulder's not dropping back. And we're going to keep that movement going. Okay, that hand on your pelvis just helps you remind that you're staying still around there. Okay, next set, let's lift our feet off the floor a little. And we're going to do the same exercise, isolating to the hips. So breath in. As you breathe out, open. Breathing in, close. Breathing out, open. Breathing in, close. Keep going. Keep focusing on those deep buttock muscles working to open the hip. And our deep abdominals, pelvic floor working to stabilize the pelvis. Keep your breathing going. Our diaphragm is still part of that core, and the movement of the diaphragm is important in maintaining that stability. Last one. And rest. Well done. So we're going to change sides to do both those exercises on the opposite side. So our first one, we want both cushions. And we're going to bring both arms forward, make sure that the head and neck are adequately supported in that position. Hips and knees bent up a little, and we think about shoulders and hips stacked just to start with. So our first exercise is a nice rotation movement through the spine, as well as an opening out through the chest. And I want you to think of the movement starting lower down in the spine and working its way up. So breath in. As you breathe out, center engage, top shoulder gently drawn down, and we're going to start moving through our waist and ribs, and then opening the arm. Let your head follow your hand. Breathing in, coming back. Breathing out, turning and opening. Breathing in, coming back. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. I want you to feel that opening and relaxing and lengthening into the opening movement. Keep that pelvis nice and still. Remember, you've got a pot balanced on top of it. You don't want it rocking off each time you open. Okay, last one. Breathing out and opening. Breathing in, coming back. Lovely. Again, if you have problems with your underneath shoulder, you can leave your arm forward if it worries you to go up. But by preference, let's get that arm up and just watch your head isn't coming forward for this one. So we're going to, again, just check those legs, make sure they're not too tightly bent. We want about 60 degrees at the hips, 60 degrees at the knees, and we want to keep the hips and the shoulders stacked and maintain a little waist hollow. Hand on top of your pelvis with your elbow pointing up. But again, if you find that difficult, once you get going, you can pop your hand down. But we're going to try and keep our pelvis nice and still as we isolate our movement to our hip, doing clams. So breath in. As you breathe out, center and open. Breathing in and close. Breathing out, open. Breathing in, close. Breathing out. Breathing in. breathing out, breathing in. Just keep going, keep focusing on that deep buttock muscle working to move the hip, and our deep abdominals and pelvic floor working to stabilize the pelvis. And of course, don't forget your breathing. Okay, next set, we're going to lift our feet off the floor just a little way. We're not lifting them too high. Breath in. As you breathe out, center and open. Breathing in as you close. Make sure those knees touch every time you close, because we want to explore the full range of that hip movement while we're doing clam. Breathing out, open. Breathing in, close. Breathing out. Breathing in. Last one. Breathing in and rest. Well done. We're now going to turn over onto our tummy for the next section, and for this exercise set you might like to use your small cushion to support your forehead. In this position our tummy is down, working down with gravity, so it's a good way to explore the feeling of lifting up away from gravity, but we're going to try and think about keeping our spine still as we do. So we're going to slide our hands in just underneath where those bony areas on our pelvis are. Just slide them in there, and that will give you a little bit of feedback through your hands as to what's happening. So if you can rest your forehead on your cushion, and I want you to take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, draw up into your pelvic floor from your tailbone around to your pubic bone, and then feel that gentle tightening, and you may feel a gentle lift away from your fingers in that position. So you can just hold that there and breathe normally for a moment. Okay, and then release. And those tummy muscles relax, and you may feel them just gently relaxing back into your fingers. Let's do that again. Breath in. As you breathe out, drawing up. Okay, now I want you to maintain that feeling of lifting, and we're going to be lifting our leg off, one leg off the floor at a time, and I want you to do it with a nice straight knee and a feeling that you're engaging through your buttock to get that movement. So breath in. As you breathe out, keeping that center engaged, lengthen out through your left leg, and we're going to lift and see if we can lift the whole leg, including the upper thigh, off the floor. Breathing in, coming back. Breathing out, lengthen through the right leg and lift. Breathing in, coming back. Keep going. Now, again, you don't need to lift really high. What you do want to do is focus on not letting your tummy drop. Try and again imagine a marshmallow just resting under your navel, and each time you lift you want to make sure you're not dropping into that marshmallow. Keep focusing on your buttock, working to lift the leg, keeping the leg nice and straight as you do it. Breathing out as you lengthen and lift. Breathing in. Breathing out, lengthen and lift. Breathing in. Let's do one more each way. Breathing out, lengthen and lift. Breathing in, last one. Breathe out, lengthen and lift. Breathe in and rest. Okay, let's bring our hands out. This time we're going to work through our upper body, and we're going to think about our shoulder blades drawing down and in towards each other and just hovering the arms off. Now try not to just poke your hands up towards the ceiling. It's much more about that shoulder blade control as you lift the arms. Okay, if you have a look at me, I'm just hovering them away and then dropping them back down. So breath in. As you breathe out, center engaged. I want you to reach gently to your feet and just hover the arms. That's all. Breathing in, coming down. Breathing out, reach down and hover. Breathing in, coming down. This is our level 1 swim. And we're just thinking about a center engagement, keeping the neck nice and long and isolating our movement to the shoulder blades. Okay, now we're going to progress this by lifting our head and breastbone. And when you're doing it, I want you to imagine you've got a soft peach between chin and breastbone to try and help you not lift from the neck. We're going to be lifting from between our shoulder blades. So breath in. As you breathe out, center, reach down, and let's hover away, keeping that neck nice and long. Breathing in, coming down. Breathing out, lengthen and hover, keeping that neck nice and long. Breathing in, coming down. Keep going. Keep thinking about that little marshmallow just sitting under your navel. Each time you come up, you want to feel that you're not flattening into it. And let's try and avoid that lower spine dropping every time we lift. Breathing out, lengthen and lift. Breathing in, coming down. Last one, breathing out, lengthen and lift. Breathing in, coming down and rest. Let those shoulders relax. Okay, we're going to go over onto our back just to finish off with some gentle stretches. So you can go back onto your back. And we're going to work on lengthening into the back of our leg, lengthening into the front of our hip, and then finishing off with a little bit of buttock stretching. So we're going to start by bringing our left knee and hugging it up to our chest. And we're just going to hold that there to fix our pelvis while we engage our centre and then slide our leg out. And let's just stretch it right out, try and get your knee as close to the mat as you can. And just hold that there for a moment, stretching in to the front of your right hip. Now let's support the back of the left leg, and we're going to reach the left heel up towards the ceiling. Now just watch your neck as you're doing this. You don't let your chin poke up. Try and keep the back of your neck nice and long. Once you're there, let's do a little bit of ankle movement just to get a little bit of stretch through all the muscle and fascia down the back of your leg. You feel that's a really nice, strong stretch. Okay, let's do some ankle circles. And circling back the other way. Okay, let's bend that left knee, slide the right leg up, swap it over, right knee to your chest, hug it up firmly, engage your centre, slide out the left leg, push it back as far as you can, really lengthening out into that leg without letting your waist lift or drop. Let's just stretch out into the front of our left hip to start with. Okay, then supporting the back of your right leg, let's reach that right heel up towards the ceiling. Again, watch your chins not poking up. Keep the back of your neck long and your shoulders relaxed there. Okay, let's do a little bit of ankle movement, backwards and forwards. Good. And then some nice big circles, just to get all that muscle and fascia through the back of our legs. A little bit more flexible. And back the other way. Good. Let's bend that right knee up. Let's bring the left leg up. Now, while your right leg's up there, let's cross it over our left leg. We're going to support both the knee and the ankle, and then pull the knee and ankle across towards your left shoulder until you can feel that really stretching deeply into the buttock area. If you'd like to and you feel able to, you can engage your centre and lift your opposite leg. Use that left leg just to leave the right leg up a little bit more. And let's swap it over, left over right. Again, support the ankle and the knee. Let's bring them up and across towards the right shoulder, feeling that stretch deep into your buttock. If you want to, engage your centre, lift that right leg, and you can use the right leg just to lever it up a little more. Well done.
Takes two.
Okay, we're nearly finished our session, so we're going to go over onto our hands and knees. And from that position, I would like you to go back as far as your knees and ankles and feet are comfortable to go, and your hips. We're going to bring those knees open a little wider. Just rest there for a moment. And then I want you to walk your hands down onto the mat, getting as close to the mat as you can comfortably go. If you find that you're struggling to get down, just get a cushion, pop it under your head. And if you're still not got enough movement through your hips, just pause and rest at a place where you feel comfortable to go. I'm going to get into that position and take a deep breath in and out. Okay, let's come up again into 4-point kneeling. We're going to bring our weight back onto the balls of our feet. Drop your head, and with your centre engaged, get your weight back onto your feet. Now just pause at that point to feel those 3 points under both feet, your triangles of support. Let your head rest down. And then with your centre engaged, we're going to slowly work our way back up, stacking up through the waist, stacking up the ribs, bringing the shoulders over the hips, and unroll, lengthen through the neck. Let's just finish with the posture check. We're going to get our feet together, open our toes, open our heels. So you've got that nice hip width stance. Make sure that your knees are soft. Let's have a little pelvic rock. And then find our neutral position where your pelvic bucket is level. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, drawing into your centre, think about those collarbones widening so that your shoulders are sitting over your hips. And imagine your head floating up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. And out. Well done. I hope you enjoyed that session.